So last time we talked about Kirk and Spock, the official flagship of fandom. Well, that was mainstream. Let's get obscure, into a ship that, not gonna lie, I may be the only one on board. You read the title correctly, it's Jessica Jones and Tony Stark. This is Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy, and let me take you on a journey to an undiscovered ship with a lot of potential that I will dub Tones, or Jark, or IronJewel. So let's meet our players. Tony Stark, businessman, playboy, genius, philanthropist. Arrogant, but extremely insecure. A guilt-ridden futurist looking to atone for past sins. Stark is a mercurial personality who can be simultaneously kind or abrasive, whose snark level has grown exponentially in his comic book characterization since the 2008 film, where he was brought to life and experienced a resurgence in popularity in no small part thanks to the compelling portrayal by Robert Downey Jr. Stark is also a workaholic and self-destructive, yet has the capacity to be a strong leader and mentor. A complex mess of contradictions, few of his relationships are long-lasting or without conflict, but the few that are some of the strongest connections within the Marvel Universe. Next up, Jessica Jones, a hardened private investigator for a time at least. Comic characters' occupations change like the tides, or rather, the writers. Jones is short-tempered and working through past traumas from a failed superhero career and long period of emotional and potentially sexual abuse depending on which canon a figure is coming from. Quick to action and passionate, Jones cares deeply for people, but has become jaded to the world around her and is working to put herself back together despite a pretty strong self-destructive streak of her own. But as canon plays out, she does so through a series of close friendships within the Marvel Universe and facing her fears, allowing her to begin to heal and find ways to help the world once more. But wait, what about Luke Cage, you ask? I love Jones and Cage. Their relationship is great. But this isn't about them. This is about my wonderful headcanon where Jones gets the chance to meet Tony. Let's get this out of the way. Jones and Stark have never met in the film/TV Marvelverse, and their interactions in the comics are very limited, to the point that for many who don't read everything, they may seem non-existent as well. But just because characters have never met or shared a scene together does not mean shipping them is impossible. Far from it. My straight shippers know what I'm talking about. So Jessica and Tony, though they run in different circles, there are many ways they could have met. In Alias, it's brought up that Jones, or Jewel at the time, was an Avenger. In fact, it's the Avengers that beat her into a coma when she is sent to the Avengers mansion to kill Daredevil by the Purple Man. So within the comic verse at least, it's very likely that those two already knew each other and had interacted, which gives one the opportunity of them reaching out to each other. But given their personality types, that's unlikely. So, headcanon time. I like to imagine them meeting each other accidentally, and not necessarily hitting it off right away. More of a meet ugly than a meet cute. And those two could snark each other for days. And on the surface, Tony possesses a lot of traits that would drive Jessica crazy. However, Jessica and Tony both have a lot of shared pain. Both lost their parents young, and both have undergone extreme trauma near the beginnings of their superhero career. The difference being that Tony's starts his, while Jessica's ends hers. In seeing the two suffer from PTSD, which was excellently handled in Netflix's Jessica Jones, and not so much in 2013's Iron Man 3, it presents yet another scenario of how these two could get together. I like to imagine one or the other stumbling upon the other in the midst of a panic attack. Perhaps Jones is undercover, tailing someone at a Stark function, and follows him when he slips away, only to witness what is happening and approaches him to help. Since Civil War, I've been obsessed with Jones approaching Stark because she needs some kind of tech or equipment, only to find him a hot mess, flirting with alcoholism again, and sticking around because she needs his help and needs him sober enough to build what she needs. The idea of them cohabiting in Stark Tower or the Avengers compound and nobody knowing, I just find heartwarming. Two lonely souls bouncing around these vast spaces meant for large numbers of people, drifting towards each other for company. Vignettes just bounce around in my head. Jones stumbling across Tony dancing to rock music in his lab and joshing him seeing signs of her trauma as in himself and seeking to help her, both just needing someone to talk about the various things that have happened to them, but not naturally the sort of people to seek out professional help, and not exactly the most open to feel comfortable seeking out their friends right away. The two could make a great team, with Stark's charm and Jones's versatile bluntness. It would be neat to see them team up and take on a case during the Civil War schism. Something goes missing from a Stark's facility, and rumors have it being used as a weapon in Hell's Kitchen. Following the Purple Man incident, Jones has a bit of a reputation in that area, so he seeks her out, but of course he has to tag along, since it's his tech. However, Both Jones and Stark are rebels with an FU attitude when it comes to confronting most problems, though they can both use their ample social skills to get out of situations as well, but that's not always their first option. So as a couple, they could get into a lot of trouble. And Jones would in no way love the paparazzi life of Tony Stark, and it's a stretch to imagine her accompanying him willingly to functions. But it is easy to imagine her barging into his workspace with pizza and making him eat it, while they watch a cheesy movie together. What can I say? I'm a total sap. However, the two do also have a tendency to be a bit pessimistic at times, and they both need optimism to bounce back, so it would be hard for the two to provide that if they both met at a low point. However, there is also the potential for deep understanding between these characters. Unlike Phil and Pepper, Jones would understand Stark's need to be Iron Man and what it means to him, just as he could understand why she could no longer be Jewel, and that there are other ways to make a difference. Stark has the potential to genuinely make her smile with his antics, as opposed to her being forced to. Just imagine the two of them flying in the sky side by side. Do I see this couple as long-term? Not really. Although I do see them staying good friends and retaining a great deal of affection for each other, and perhaps occasionally hooking up when they are in between partners. Though given both of their track records, there could be some overlap. So I guess they have a bro TP potential for me, while I do see a passionate and productive life-improving relationship. But at the end of the day, they are very similar and self-destructive, and would most likely find a way to sabotage the relationship. But hey, that doesn't stop me from wishing that when Jessica is thrown out of the bar in the Netflix series, she collides head-on with Tony Stark, slumming it in Hell's Kitchen. Sure, they move in different circles, but in the Marvelverse, that doesn't matter. Everyone finds a way to meet each other. Okay guys, that was a glimpse into my fangirl head, and just a brief exploration of how a headcanon and affinity for a ship can bloom out of pretty much nothing. So guys, am I insane or is there something here? Come on, I can't be the only person out there who's thought about this.
Is there an Avenger who you would love to see like a Jessica Jones team-up movie?
I mean, it would be really awesome to team up with Iron Man.
Hope you guys like this. A few of you were curious as to what my reasoning was for this ship, as I had mentioned it before. Share all of the ships you guys have that nobody else mentions, talks about, or doesn't seem to know exist, or perhaps don't exist outside of your own headcanon down below. Trust me, you're not alone. Somebody else out there is following the same logic path as you. Or maybe you'll introduce some people to a cool new concept. So hopefully I see some IronJewel shippers down there. Or Tones. Or Jark. Let's name those people. Thanks so much for watching and letting me be self-indulgent for just a little bit, and share my love for this obscure, non-existent ship. Next time we'll explore a larger star in the shipping verse. This has been Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check out social media to stay up to date, and as always, stay tuned, for there are as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky.